All right. Now we're recording. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So, no, I kid. Thanks for all you do, Deepa.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, Mark.
Mark Ross, and Salesforce VP, and I work with Cox Automotive, and my specialty is with automation and workflow and flow, most especially. All about the flow.
All right. And last but certainly not least, Steve Moe.
Hi, everybody. Steve Moelis from Boston. And if I got an area of expertise, probably be formulas and reports, and I'm starting to dip my toe into the process builder.
Nice. All right. All right. So we got a lot of areas of expertise today. Who wants to kick us off with the first question?
There's actually someone who posted a question on the Success community. I don't know if she's here. Heather Creel, are you here? I guess she's not.
Don't be shy. No bad questions. Suzanne, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Well, someone had to. I'm signed up for the Advanced Administrator virtual training because I live on the Big Island of Hawaii, and there's no really place to go. And I was curious if anyone had ever taken the virtual training and also the Advanced Administrator certification test, if I can get an idea of what to expect.
Okay, so are you taking virtual training from Salesforce, or are you taking it from a partner provider?
No, from Salesforce.
Okay, so I haven't taken the virtual training. I've gone through their in-class training, and their training is absolutely fantastic. You're not going to be sorry. They cover every basis because their training stays current with the releases. And as far as what you can expect, here's what I'm going to say. All the exams are based on your knowledge, right? Like every exam question is scenario-based. They'll give you a business scenario, and then they'll test you on your knowledge. And so when you go through all the topics for the advanced admin, which covers a lot of the, it covers the workflow rules, it covers the approval processes, it covers all the advanced configuration. It will go a little bit into the service side, it will go a little bit into the community, but it's all based on a scenario. So what you have to do is you have to learn how to apply everything you learn in class to a business scenario. And once you know how to apply that, all you do is read the questions very clearly, and if you know how to do things in Salesforce, you'll be able to pick out the answers.
All right, I already have this administrative certification. I was just curious what the difference is.
It's no different. It's just that it goes into a deeper level of a little bit more complexity with every configuration that you do, which is workflow rules and all the advanced stuff.
So it's like the administrator.
Yep, it's like the administrator. The one thing is true about all the certification exams is they're consistent. They're all based on scenarios. But, based on, the release cycle, when you register for the exam, if it says WI-15, that means it was Winter 15 is included in that exam. So you have to know what those, functionality came out within that release. If you take now, you're probably going to have Winter 15, not, Spring 15.
Okay, I already took the Winter 15 test and passed that.
Okay, so you're good.
So
just study.
For vacations, or do I have to take 2 tests now for every release?
No, you still have to take 1 maintenance. But what I'm going to say is once you go through the virtual training, spend about a week or so on your own time to make sure that you redo what you learned in your dev org, because
Right.
it's practice that makes you perfect, and it's practice that helps you understand. So, the way we run our study group is we give you a scenario and we say, now go build it out, right? So if you can come up with a scenario that you can build out in your dev org using what you learned in the ADM 211, and then you go take the exam, I'm 100% certain you'll pass it.
Okay. Has anyone ever taken the virtual exam? Because of where I live, I have to do everything.
Ooh. Yes, and Brendan's not here, but the thing is your camera has to be focused over your shoulder, looking over your computer monitor and your keyboard. They both have to be visible, and like you need to have absolutely nothing else on your desk. Like throw everything off the desk, just those two, and your camera has to be focused over your shoulder. Like they watch the computer monitor and your keyboard.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, I can move my camera. That's not a problem. So okay.
Somebody else is saying
I have
something.
the
Hold on.
course up in April, and
This is Bill. I actually just recently took it with the camera at home. It's actually not over your shoulder. There's a diagram when you kind of actually, before you start up to go through, after you pay, and it's actually more to your right or your left, and they want to see the side of the screen, the keyboard, and your complete side of your body. So you really have to kind of move your camera.
Oh, they changed it.
Yeah, I understand. They don't want you cheating, so I get it.
Yeah. And it's also face recognition, so be prepared to just put your face up to your camera before.
Yeah, well, like I said, I work remotely. I'm always in front of the camera, like it or not. Well, thank you so much, and I hope to get the other certification. I guess while I'm on the subject, how difficult is this, like the cloud certifications? Are those even worth pursuing, or what are the thoughts about them, like the Sales Cloud, for example?
So it depends on where you want your career path to go, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you want to build a career being like a business analyst or even a consultant, or a different hierarchy in your company compared to the technical route, like if you want to go more on the business side, I would say you take the sales consultant and service cloud consultants, because those factor a lot in about the industry knowledge and requirements gathering, and like it really goes through doing a thorough analysis and design and planning and building, and you do architecture and all of that. If you want to go more on the developer side, then you can go take the developer track, which would then lead into the Dev 401 and the Dev 501, and then the technical architect, right? Like, but when you get to the technical architect, you have to be able to do the solution design, right? Like that's like the highest level, which maybe like a handful of people hold right now.
Yeah, I don't think I'm cut out for that part. I'm more on the business.
Well, here's the thing about the 401 though. The 401 is basically it's called developer, but it's really just admin plus. If you do a lot of workflow and formulas, you'll be able to pass the 401 no problem. That's essentially what the 401 is. It's workflow and formulas.
Well, I have an interesting job. My company basically integrates everything outside of Salesforce, so I don't really get to use much of it, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to keep using it because I love the platform so much. So I just have a question for Steve Mo. Are you buried under all that snow?
Go ahead. What is it?
Steve Mo, are you buried under all that snow?
We're finally digging out.
Well, good luck with that.
Hey, are you the one that called a few weeks ago about the weekly data extract? You weren't able to access the link.
Yep.
What ended up being any resolution on that?
It just started working again. They escalated it. They kept wanting to call me, and I would say, "Why call me? There's nothing to discuss." But then I would call me, and I'm like, look, I know how it works. It just eventually started working, so I'm going to chalk it up to probably there was some kind of breakdown when they were rolling out the spring release. At least that's what was inferred in the case comments.
Okay.
So it's working again.
Yeah, I would, now that it's working, I remember there was something unique about like the person who was getting the email wasn't you, but you were the one who had to do the actual extract. While it's working, I would nip that in the bud. I'd get the email, either you be notified, or the person who gets the email is the person who does the extract.
Well, I kludged around it because I also control the email setup for my company. That I created an email group of which I'm a part of, and so is my boss. So now we both get the link.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I still keep an eye on that because I know that Salesforce is kind of particular about certain emails. I don't know what the technology is, but they kind of I think they're able to sniff out whether it's an actual email user or an email distribution group. Because I know in the past I've tried to do some stuff with like setting up a distribution list. Certain things will and won't be sent. So
worked the past couple of export cycles. It's coming to the email group, of which there are 2 members, me and my boss. So they haven't, when they figure it out, will I just stop getting the email, or will they say something?
That's why I would just get it sent to have Salesforce send the email to the right person.
Okay, well, so far, fingers crossed, it's working again. And I have another org that we do the same thing, and that's never had a problem. It's just it's more of a recruiting org, so we have spun up two Salesforce orgs, and I've never had a problem. It's also run by an email group, and I've gotten that export like clockwork for the past couple of years now. So, fingers crossed. Thank you.
No problem.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Deepa. Thanks, Steve. All right. I had a question here in the chat from Dennis he would like to know the difference between the 15-digit and 18-digit Salesforce ID and how and when an admin might use either. So I can say on the first part there, Dennis, that really the difference is one is case sensitive and one is case insensitive. So the first one, the 15 character, is case sensitive, and the 18 is case insensitive. When you export things out of the like data loader, you're going to get the 18 digit. I don't know, as far as using the different ones, I don't know if anybody else has instances on that.
One of the things I discovered is when you're using the process builder, if you're ever referencing a specific ID, it doesn't seem to take the 15 character, you have to use the 18. So like if you're doing something for a specific record type ID, you have to grab the 18 character ID or it won't recognize it.
Yeah, and
but really try to not use hard-code IDs in process builder. I know sometimes you have to.
Yeah. This is Steve. And in formulas, it only can use the 15-char ID instead of the 18-char. Although I guess in theory, if you only had the 18-char ID, you could use a case-safe ID function to convert it. But on the export side, you really don't want to use the 15-character ID in a case-insensitive system or app like Excel. If you export a report to Excel, you do any kind of VLOOKUPs or sorting, always use the 18-character ID. And here's the thing with reports, you can't get the 18-character ID. So best practice on every single object Just be proactive. Go in there right now. Create a custom field. Select formula as the data type. Select text as your result type. And just create a case-safe ID field using the case-safe ID function. You just insert the ID in there, and you'll be good to go. Use that in your reports.
Does that help you out, Dennis?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are tools out there like Chrome plugins and stuff that if you wanted to take the 15 character and generate a 18 character, you can do that. All right, let's see here. Rob has a question here. All right, Rob's question. I've scheduled a report that displays checkboxes in the last two columns. When folks receive the email of this report, the display is somewhat merged. Column of zeros and ones. Suggestions to overcome this. So the trues and the falses are showing up as zeros and ones.
Hi, everybody. I can live with the zeros and ones. I'm just, it kind of gets merged. And I'm wondering, do people add, rearrange the columns so that there's kind of a spacer column separating one checkbox column from another checkbox column so they don't appear to be merged, or is there, am I doing something wrong?
Is this in a report that's being scheduled and delivered by email?
Correct.
Yeah.
I remember reading something about this some time ago, and I don't remember where I read it.
Unfortunately, when anything is emailed, you're at the mercy of that email system and how it renders. I noticed that Gmail is a lot better than Outlook. Outlook, you just run it. It's not just checkbox fields. Any kind. Things just get smushed together. You can't tell where one column ends and the other column begins, especially some data types, left justify, other data types, right justify. It's just a mess. Best case, play around with, if you look at the report in the email and if it looks ugly, play around with the ordering of the column. But
like maybe move the two checkbox columns to the far left instead of the far right.
Exactly. Put it.
Well, you might still have that problem if they're both on each side.
Yeah. My guess, Deepak, is that the squishing is a result of the opportunity name, which is always variable in its character length. And
so is this happening in an Outlook or is this happening in a web-based product?
Actually, it is Outlook, yeah.
Yeah. Outlook,
okay.
You're really...
HTML email?
That's a great question. I mean, I thought all my inbound was HTML. I suppose it's a possibility it's not.
It's the thing is, if it is an HTML, you could, like if it was browser-based, you could easily use the browse element feature to see what's happening with the, the width of the columns, right? Like, unfortunately, you can't do that with Outlook unless maybe if you're on Outlook 365, which is browser-based. But Outlook is a nightmare.
It appears that the format, when it hits my desk, is HTML. But I like Steve's suggestion of moving the columns way over to the left and play with it.
Yeah. I would say separate them out with another column in between and see if because I'm worried that if they're both on the right and they're merging, then if they're both on the left, it might still merge.
Right. And if I can pick a column that has a consistent length from record to record, then I probably have my best shot at it.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Yeah. You might be able to go down to Home Depot, and they might have some report shims that you can stick in between the columns just to space them a little bit.
No, I can't. Jared, I can't get into the Home Depot. The line for the shovels is too long out the door. Steve will tell you that.
Nice.
I think
who else has a question? No hands raised, nothing in the chat. Come on.
We still got half an hour, guys. If not, I can go have a drink. Although not during the day. I'll be drinking tonight.
Do you deliver?
I deliver, yes. What do you want?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. What will make it all the way up to Wisconsin?
A beer?
Oh, I can't stand beer.
Okay, then you're SOL. Wine?
No one has questions?
Today's a party call, man.
Yeah. Well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My name is Catherine, and I'm a Salesforce administrator with a partner community as part of our org. And I was wondering what the best way to customize the homepage for each partner user is. I want to use information from the account that's connected to the user, because their users have, the contact lookup, and in the contact there's an account looked up, and I want to use information from that account on the home page, but I'm not quite sure how to relationally handle it.
Ooh, that's a good question. Has anybody on the call worked with partner communities?
I've worked with partner communities, but I got a call and I had to kind of flash back. What was the question? What do you want to? You want to show an account on a home page?
Yeah. So in the user record for the partner users, they have to have a contact looked up, and that contact always has an account looked up, and I want to use information from that account on their home page.
You're talking about the home page when they log into the community?
Yeah, like the home tab. And I'm not really able to use global variables with it.
I don't know that you can do that, because the home page only allows you to, first of all, you can put a logo there unless you write absolute custom Visualforce page or code.
Yeah, I do have a Visualforce page on there.
All right, so now it goes into Brian's court. Brian Kwong? Is Brian on the call?
I'm on the call. I'm not sure I really have a good answer, because I have not really played with Visualforce pages in a community sense. I know if you're not talking about communities and you're just talking about their home tab, you can put a Visualforce page right on the layout. But I don't know if there's any considerations to make with using Visualforce pages when you're using communities.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you create a partner community user, they're going to have their own account and contact, but they're also going to have access to other accounts that they own.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to specify their specific account unless you have the ID for their user community user license that gets created? And then somehow you would have to feed that to get the account name. And I don't know technically how to do that. I'm just thinking logically here. But because you have access to more than one account, how do you pinpoint to the account that they just belong to? I don't know the answer to that.
Standardly with partner users, they have to have a contact in their user record. It's not a custom field; it's a standard field, that contact. And so the account I want to use is the account that's the lookup field on that contact that's related to their user.
I know what you're saying, because I've gone to let me bring up my org here. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't know that I'll have an answer for you, but oh, come on, you can't.
One thing I've done now, with the home page, sometimes I'll just make custom tabs too if I don't want to use the certain pages to show them just little bits of information. Because I'm not sure how to take out the left column in a home page. So right now they don't see a home page. They see the Visualforce page that I made, like the starting tab.
Yeah, so the home page, like the home page, it has a grid, and you have to follow that grid, right? Like,
yeah.
I think any Visualforce page you create is going to go in the body, but not on the left and not on the top, right? Because the top bar has the navigation plus the logo. And then the left has the left navigation, and it's only the middle that you can replace with a Visualforce page. And even with that, I'm trying to go to my user record. Hold on. So
I can't give you the answer, but the community, you can actually overwrite everything and make it just look like a web page.
Oh, really?
Definitely examples. There's examples out there of completely taking a community and just customizing it all with Visualforce so it doesn't even look like Salesforce.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. Like, I don't use the home page. Like, I just take that tab off their availability and just use a custom one that I created. Because I just don't like this spacing. Because they don't need columns like a left column or anything.
I would just post your question maybe on one of the developer boards.
Okay.
It just sounds like you just have to kind of go up the chain of IDs from one ID, user ID to contact ID to account ID. Contact name. So.
Yeah, you have to pass the ID somehow, and I don't know.
I mean, there's I was trying a couple things, and I have a formula field that has the ID on the user, but I'm not really sure how to apply that to making it filling in the information. But all right.
I'm sorry.
Thank you guys, though. I appreciate it.
All right, who else has questions? If anybody has any developer questions, we also had not only now we have Brian, but we also have Marty Chang on the call. So if we have any of those, we have 2 resources that can help there. No questions, huh?
Can we come back to the previous question for a second?
Yeah.
I know we asked her to put it on the developer board, but I'm looking at the community user. There actually is a field in there called company. Are you utilizing that one?
I don't believe so. Company? No. It's just the contact lookup. Well, I mean, we have stuff in.
Because when you create the user, you can, Salesforce doesn't automatically fill that from the account record. So you would have to fill that in, but there is a field that's company. And if the name's available, I don't know that that company field is available to you to use in your Visualforce page. Try it out. I mean, it's just a thought.
Okay. I'm not really sure, because company is just a regular text field. I'd want something that went through the contact field, the standard contact field that's on the user partner community user record. Because they're different from, I don't know if other community user records have that as a standard thing or if that's just partner communities.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we had a question in the chat here from Joshua Pyle. They're on Group Edition and looking for a way to sync Salesforce events to OSX calendar and Google Calendar.
Group Edition does not have an API.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that.
I don't even think you can install AppExchange stuff on Group Edition.
Nope,
right?
nothing. Group is the basic version. It's just a standalone thing. Not on your hard. It's still browser based, but you can't do anything to it.
There's really not a good, easy option. You can hobble some things together, I know CRM Fusion's demand tools should work with Group Edition. Also works with PE Edition, which doesn't have API or workflow rules. And with that, you could do things like go out and get an extract of data, put it in a CSV file, and then pass it over to another piece of software that might parse it out and everything. It's really, it's really going to be so clunky that it's probably not worth the effort to try to do it for syncing purposes.
This is Bill. Cirrus Insight will work with Group Edition, and that syncs Gmail and Google Calendar. It won't take care of the iOS.
Oh, I didn't know Cirrus syncs with Group.
Yeah, Cirrus Insight will. So if you go to AppExchange and do a search for just either, you could just do Google Calendar, and it will come up, and again, it will sync Gmail, Google Calendar, and a few other things. It's a pretty good product.
Oh, I love Cirrus.
Yeah, and then you should be able to just really, from there, if you want it on, use a OSX calendar, then you should just be able to bring it over from Google itself, so and sync between those two. All right. We have another question here from Catherine. Has anyone had experience changing a community with the site type force.com to site.com?
Hey Jared, I can take that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
The answer is you're looking really at a completely different technology base, and I would probably first ask just what exactly are you looking to gain out of that switch?
I actually don't know as much about site.com as I do force.com, and it was kind of just the thing I was exploring because I know with the new release they had more features for site.com that because I do a lot of Visualforce and different customizations for force.com, and it seemed like it might just be, save me a load of time if it was on site.com because they have some stuff that's pretty nice with the manipulation of the interface.
I think it's if you're looking to I definitely don't think it's a bad thing. For example, right now, one of the really cool things, in my opinion, with site.com is there's a pilot program for communities like Lightning components. So that seems to be kind of where the development is happening. And I do believe that long-term it will be good. It's just if you have a force.com, if you're already using force.com sites, and there's no kind of immediate need for you to switch over, I'm not sure you're going to get a lot of benefit out of it.
Okay.
But you're essentially doing you're doing a re-implementation. You might be able to keep some of the style sheet assets depending on how you've structured your pages, but you're going to be starting from kind of a blank canvas at that point.
Yeah. Would I be able to keep switch over users too? They would remain a part of that community?
Absolutely. Your users and data are all going to be the same.
Okay. I'll have to look at that a little bit more then.
Awesome.
Also, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was wondering if anybody knew any good resources for finding Salesforce groups and communities, or I know people have brought up study groups or classes that just aren't the standard ones on the Salesforce website.
What was the question?
I guess groups for, or like resources for finding, I guess, Salesforce groups in the community.
Success.salesforce.com.
Yeah, success.salesforce.com.
They have groups for everything, and they're all centrally located there. Go to the collaboration section, the collaboration link at the top. That is essentially a chatter that's built into Salesforce's main site, and it's got all the chatter groups, and each of the chatter groups is everything you could possibly want to discuss as its own group.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. We have a question here from Anthony Foster. How can I recreate the fiscal quarter fields when custom fiscal years is enabled? The custom fiscal year setup is for 13-week periods following a 5-4-4 format with a catch-up week every 6 to 7 years.
Wow.
That was an easy one. So I have been tasked by my company. We are required by a company that has a manufacturing calendar. We currently follow calendar year starting in October, so October 1 to September 30. They start in November, and it follows the manufacturing calendar in the format that I listed. So I've presented a research paper to the company to say if we move to custom fiscal years, which we need to do because all of our forecasting is out of whack, and users are starting to say, hey, I can't, I can do for one quarter, so I can just do manual dates, but I can't do quarter on quarter on quarter. So we probably need to move to there. The feedback I'm getting is that we really want to have that fiscal quarter, fiscal period, and fiscal year fields that go away when you move to custom fiscal quarters, fiscal years. So I've been toying with formula fields because I can get the fiscal year, but the fiscal quarter, because they have such odd kind of start and end dates, I'm going to hit my limit for compile size. So I just wonder if there are any other options. I thought about using custom settings and having a trigger, but I don't want to go to that point if there's a simpler solution. If you guys have any ideas or thoughts, or maybe just somewhere to point that might be helpful.
Any MVPs worked with custom fiscal years? I haven't had to do that before.
I've not had to do that either. You know what would be a good idea is to post a question on the Success community in the official forecasting group, because Robin and there's a couple Salesforce PMs who are on there. They'll be able to better answer that question for you. So post it in the official forecasting, because I've never set up a client on fiscal custom year or custom fiscal years.
Okay. Well, I certainly respect that. The best advice that someone gave me for work is acknowledge your weakness and then call your strength. So thank you for that, which I always remember. And I'll do that. Is that a group that I need to be invited to, or can I just...
No, you can go join. So just look for official forecasting, and it's a public group, so you should be able to join it without a problem. And then you'll be able to see, you'll be able to see, look at some of the conversations, so you know who the PMs are. Also, the group owner is one of the PMs, so you can always mention the group owner and say, you know what, this is going to have a huge impact on us. Can you please help us? And they'll help you.
Okay, great. Appreciate the advice.
And post it on Answers, too.
Okay. Great, will do. Thanks very much for your input. Appreciate you taking my question.
Awesome. Thank you, Deepa. All right. We got 10 minutes left. Anybody have any questions?
Okay, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Exchange. There used to be an app called Condor Field Trip, and I think they got bought by somebody else. And is there anything like them out there where I can test or find out which fields we have that are not being used so I can start cleaning up our org?
So there's Panaya.
I was going to say, so that Field Trip app is still out there?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they haven't been purchased by anybody. So you can still go download that app.
Right, but they don't.
The thing is, I think it doesn't come up in the searches. You have to do a Google search to get to it, I think.
I'll post the App Exchange. You can get to it from searching the App Exchange if you search Field Trip.
Right, but they don't offer any support. So when I ran it before, I had a question about what does this data mean, and I never heard back from anyone. So I'm a little concerned about using an app where there's no one to answer questions from users. Well, I realize it's free. I just thought if they're the only ones, then okay, so be it.
So there is the app Panaya Change Guru, but it's not the way Field Trip is. Like Field Trip gives you utilization percentage, whereas Panaya Change Guru gives you an analysis of where the field is embedded all throughout the system. It doesn't give you utilization percentage. I don't know of any other products that do that, unless you guys all do. But, that's what happens with free products. You don't get support.
Yeah.
And really, for Field Trip, I mean, the reason they don't support it is because it's free.
I know.
And because, I can vouch for Field Trip.
I can too, yes. Yeah. I can
think
too.
almost every MVP would vouch for Field Trip. I've never had any trouble with it.
Neither have I.
It's got a very good reputation in the community, and if you had some trouble, even the Field Trip itself is not going to help you. If that company is not going to help you, if you post out in the community or you ask questions here, I'm sure you'd get an answer really fast, if not faster than they would be able to give you if they actually did support.
Oh, that's a good idea.
The speed of our community. So
maybe I'll give them another try. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Who else has we got about 7 minutes left. Anybody else having a question?
Jared, it's Rob. I'll take another one if you've got nobody else on deck.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have any of the MVPs seen product schedule on Salesforce One? What I mean by that is on the mobile device. Because I'm looking at it right now, and if you think about the schedule when it displays on your desktop, it's very grid-like. And the way it displays in Salesforce One is it kind of repeats each monthly entry. For example, in a monthly schedule where I have quantity of 1 in, let's say, 12 months, each of 12 months, and I have the same numeric quantity, let's say 10,000 in each of 12 months. When you look at it on the screen, you see January 1 with no revenue. Then you see January quantity of 0, revenue 10. So in other words, it does 2 entries. Then it does the next month, 2 entries. 1 entry for quantity, 1 entry for revenue. It's not grid-like at all, and it's not very intuitive. I was just wondering if any of you had run into that.
I have not, but have you taken a screenshot and posted it on the Salesforce One Success Community Group?
That was going to be my next step. Thanks, Steve.
I would suggest you do that.
Good idea.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, any other questions? We have about 5 minutes left. If not, we'll wrap it up and head into the weekend. Going once, going twice. All right. Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and end here. Appreciate the questions. Appreciate your time, MVPs, any helpful answers. As always, if you guys have any suggestions for improvement of MVP office hours or other avenues we can take, definitely let us know. Would love to hear your feedback. So with that being said, thanks again for your time, and everyone have a great weekend.
Bye.
So long.
All right, guys, you guys. Good weekend.
Take care.